Hey, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Tracy and this is A Girl with Plans. In today's video, we're going to be doing some travel planning. All right, guys. So I created a travel planner and travel memory notebook. I will link that video down below if you haven't caught that. But basically, I love to travel, so I wanted to have a separate notebook that kind of houses anything travel related, so that way I can quickly reach for it when I need it. And it's also a place to kind of house some of my future plans. Now, I want to kind of show you some different things that you can do with filler paper and things like that as well. So I figured let's go ahead and dive right back into my travel planner and let's create some kind of like travel planning list. So basically what I'm doing is, I know that summer is basically just about to get started, depending upon when you're watching this video. But when summer starts, it's always important to kind of start looking to next year, because we have to do things like budget, book, and plan, and those things take time. So I think it's important to kind of start some of this pre-planning now. So that's kind of what I am going to do. So this is my travel planner. At one point I was keeping my travel memories in here, but I think I'm going to kind of separate those. We'll see. All right. So a couple of things I've already created, and this is more beyond the initial planning stage, and I will do videos. I think this video is going to kind of stick to planning, like the original, like getting the ball rolling, coming up with ideas and things like that. So we're going to skip that for now. I did create this 2023 travel planner, and this is in my first video where I was going over all of this, where I kind of write down any of the trips that I'm planning on taking in 2023. I do not think there's going to be 4 boxes filled in. There may be another box, we'll see. But these don't have to be just big trips. They could be smaller trips. And then 2024, 2025, and 2026, because like I said, it is pretty important to kind of plan ahead. Sometimes that is where you can get the most bang for your buck. All right, so we have all of that. I had things to do and see that I kind of created spaces for. And this is kind of what I did when I actually was planning my last cruise and once everything had kind of gotten going. All right, so I'm going to take some pages out. We'll just use some of these. And this is just blank pages from Happy Planner, Happy Notes books. And I also have some of these. These are just half sheets that I picked up. It's like the Wrong Girls. And I just thought this was very travel related. So I thought these would be perfect for my travel notebook. Now, I did have this in my like a trip planning checklist. So I actually might use that now that I think about it. I had some extra space on one of the Cricut things I was printing out. So I just started throwing in additional words, and that was one of them, a trip planning checklist. So yes, trip planning checklist. That is what we're going to start with. I did pull some stickers already to try to get this going. So hang on for one moment. All right. So I have pre-pulled some stickers. So basically in this Travel Basics book by Agirlwithplanz, she has a lot of the stuff done in her own handwriting that's kind of like travel budget, book hotel. So it's a good checklist of sorts of things that need to get done. You have your flight info stickers and things like that. So I definitely went ahead and pulled that. But before we even get to this, the first thing you have to figure out is where you're going. And that a lot of times comes with the travel budget is a part of it, and I feel like that has to be a big part of it. So like what I'm going to do on this sheet is I'm going to use the half sheet. So the first thing I feel like you need to do, and of course all this stuff you can handwrite, it's just if I have the stickers, I'm going to use them. But once I run out of these stickers, because I'm planning on doing the same thing for each trip that I take, because I feel like it's a very important part. So I'm gonna just start handwriting them, or I may create my own inserts. I don't know, but right now I have an abundance of stickers and I have plenty of this filler paper. So that's why I'm gonna use that. So the first thing you'll do is come up with a travel budget. If you want to be all fancy, I can go ahead and try to find a little box and add that in here. Let's do, all right, travel budget. Okay, so you'll have a travel budget. But then the next thing you have to start doing is figuring out, unless you have a place to go. Okay, so like for me, I like to go on cruises. So what I will typically do is I used to be loyal to Royal, that's Royal Caribbean, but I've since kind of gone on different cruise lines. And now what I'm doing is, I mean, of course there are advantages to being loyal to one cruise line. And this is not about travel tips, but I might throw some in, is, you know, you do get perks. Once you reach like a certain number of nights, you get bumped up to another like level of status in their loyalty programs. And this goes for most of your cruise lines, if not all of them. So you do get perks once you're on board. So there is an advantage to that. But now that I've gone on several cruises, I don't really want to repeat a lot of the itineraries. So I am more looking at the itineraries, and that doesn't just include the places that they go, that includes the time spent at a location, because some stops may be great, but they're not very long, and that limits to what you can do and see. And then there's some cruise lines that offer overnights in certain places, and that is fabulous, because I mean, it's always great, especially if it's a good place, to be able to explore it during the day, to be able to explore it at night. And when there is an overnight, you can kind of, there's like less stress. You don't really have to schedule much. You can kind of, maybe you'll do like an excursion, but then you can kind of do whatever you want and don't have to look at your watch. So those are bonuses, and that's kind of where I'm going now, is I'm not really stuck to cruising. And yes, I do cruise a lot because I think it is a good way to like see various places, but I also do a lot of land trips. I just don't have any land trips, I believe, coming up, whereas I may be doing 2 cruises. All right, so why I went into that little blurb. So you have your travel budget. The next thing I think I would do here is, let's just see, being I'm like using stickers, I can use stickers, and I know this book has them, and also the Happy Planners travel book has these types of stickers as well. I'm pretty sure she does. It's just sometimes when you're flipping through and trying to be quick, it's a little difficult to find stuff. Like I'm overlooking them. What I'm looking for, and I know it's in, I have so many of these books on my desk. I know it's in this one. I'm pretty sure it's in this one. I'm just looking for something that says destination. And if I don't, oh yeah, I saw it the other day. All right. So instead of just having destination, I'm actually going to handwrite next to it and write ideas. So you have your budget, and that's just basically, and I would say, you know, your budget should be something semi-concrete, what you can afford or what you think you can save. But then you have your destination ideas. So then you could do, I don't know how many ideas you're going to have, but like if you're going to do a cruise, it's not necessarily the cruise line, but like, where do you want to do your cruise? Even like for me, I want to do a Mediterranean cruise. So do I want to see Greece? Do I want to see Croatia? Like, what do I want to see? So then I would list those here. Then you might have room on the same page, but then when you get over here, this is when you start doing your research. So let's say I picked my destination. So I'm going to write it. I'm actually not going to do a fake one. I'm really going to do this at some point. But okay, so we'll plan for this as my Mediterranean. So my destination ideas is Greece, Croatia, and then I wouldn't mind doing an Italy cruise, basically Europe. I've done a Northern European cruise, but I haven't done most of the other ones. So I can like list all of these, and these seem crazy, but when I'm looking at cruises, so I can just write here, 2024 cruise. So when I'm looking at cruises, this is pretty easy because like I have to like narrow down the time of the year, which is another thing. So that would be something. So for these locations, what I am looking at is probably May or September, just because I don't want it to be crazy hot, because that's just going to be miserable in these locations. All right, so those are my destination ideas. Then what I would do is I would start doing research on the topic. And then that was where the budget comes in. So I'm going to start looking at the actual prices of the cruise. How much is it going to be? I'm only paying for myself. So like I'll figure out how much it is per person. And for cruises, you also have to consider things that aren't included in that total. Certain cruise lines, like Virgin Voyages, they like what you see is what you're going to pay. And I believe Princess has some options where you can kind of do like a more all-inclusive package and pay for it up front, so you kind of know your total there. But other cruise lines, you have to consider gratuities that are added at the end of the cruise, and it's automatically added to your bill. Wi-Fi is something that a lot of us do like to have when we're at sea or in another country, because it's just more convenient to connect back home, hopefully not scrolling the internet, because we do need to disconnect. But things like that are things that have to be added to the price points you see. And I know I'm talking about cruises, but that's pretty much anything. So if you are doing a land trip, then you probably will have internet or Wi-Fi access in a lot of your hotels. But especially if you're doing a land trip and you plan on exploring your own, then you have to think about things like a SIM card or international coverage or things like that, rental cars. So there's just a lot of things to think about when you're thinking about budgeting. So when you're doing research and you're looking at those initial prices, so much more goes into it. So that's why this page is more of a brain dump. And I'm doing these half sheets because I can kind of easily put them in the middle of like the page where I do my overall checklist. I just feel like these are easy and they don't get a lot of use, and I love half sheets and they're super cheap. Like I think I got this for like $1.99, maybe $2.99 on the Happy Planner website. I will link it down below if it is still available. And I would appreciate it if you would use that link. I actually have an affiliate link for a Happy Planner. So I do earn like a small commission, but it's the same price for you guys. So there's no like upcharge for you guys. All right, so that is that. And then on the back will be more of destination research. So what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to actually write anything out or do boxes or anything like this, because this is all going to be information. So basically what I will do is I will look at this, and then let's say like right now, I know that I am considering a Virgin Voyages vacation cruise next year, because I know that they combine both of these for at least one cruise. So I'll look at it, write the date, write the price. But then I might want to look at Royal, see how much they are, write the date, write the price. Print, like, so that way I can kind of get an overall view. The only caveat of it is flights. I will say that when just, again, I'm not an expert. I've done a lot of traveling, but will say that when you look at things and when you're kind of looking at flights, I would overestimate what they are right now unless you're ready to book. If they go down, oh my gosh, then you have extra money for excursions and spending cash, or you just don't have to save as long. So I will always over budget for my flight. Like right now, if I look at a flight and it's $1,000, I'm going to probably budget at least $1,200 to $1,300. Just because I'm not going to be ready to book my flight until I know for sure that I have put my deposit down on the cruise. My travel companions have put their deposit down. We've gotten the green light to take off work and stuff like that. All right. So the next thing, okay, this is going to be a little all over the place, but the other thing I'm going to do, and these are things that I'm going to do. So I'm not just creating these pages as ideas and not using them myself. I'm actually doing them how I would do them. So you may want to do them differently. And like I said, I'm using stickers, but I'm going to do another travel, and this is an actual budget sheet. And this is where it says budget, but it's probably where I'm going to actually put down all my running costs for everything. And I have put down, I could have just did travel expenses. Maybe I'll save this one if it'll come off. But I like the big one. I'm going to use this for now. I had a travel expenses one that would work, but yeah. So the first thing that I would book is, I don't think there's anything on here for the actual trip. So for me, like if you guys were just taking like a hotel and a flight. So for me, I'm going to leave an extra space. And so for my travel budget, the first thing is going to be the cruise. Okay. And then, let's just do, I'm not going to use these stickers yet. So then the next thing, I guess the flight, because you have to figure out when you're getting there before you book the hotel. So the flight, then the hotel. And the hotel is not as simple as you think it is, but the good thing about hotels is, and what I would always recommend is try to get a refundable rate, at least one that is refundable up until a certain time frame before your trip. Just because, I mean, things can happen. I highly recommend travel insurance though. Travel insurance, especially in this day and age after COVID. I mean, fortunately I had a cruise booked right when COVID started, and I did get my money back for the cruise. I did not get my money back for one of the, actually either flight. I got flight credit, but then I couldn't use it. So I ended up losing like $150, $160. So that was a bummer. I did not have travel insurance. So because it was like a short cruise, and so yeah, that did not work. So lesson learned, always get travel insurance. It's like usually, you know, it's based on your overall cost, but it's usually like a couple $100. And then if you're a frequent traveler, you can buy an annual plan, which is even better. Okay. I'm not a travel agent. I was for a short period of time, but I don't know a lot that's going on right now. All right. So cruise, flight, hotel. The other thing you have to consider is when I put transportation, it sounds duplicative, but that is more like transportation to and from the airport. If you're going to on a cruise, transportation to and from the port, things like that. I don't think I need 2 spaces because I can write it here and here. So you have transportation. Then I think something to consider would be excursions or like activities, or so I write excursions because again, this is a cruise, but this could be anything. So if you don't know what you're going to do, but you know you're going to do stuff, aim high depending on where you're going. If you're going to South America, the cost isn't going to be as great versus if you're going to Europe. If you're going to Europe, costs are probably going to be similar to what they are in the US. So they're going to be a little bit more. So we have all that. Then I'm not going to go all the way down the list. I think that's enough. But like tickets, that was like for excursions. But tickets could also be if you're doing shows or anything like that. Like, you know, right now, Las Vegas, great place for shows. So you might do excursions and tickets separately, especially because tickets are something more concrete and you buy those in advance. Excursions you should buy in advance too if you can. Although a lot of places nowadays do have a lot of like same day signups, but I'm nervous about risking that. And then food and things like that. Food and shopping should be something that you budget. Obviously, it's not going to be concrete. So like, even though this is travel budget, this is more going to be actual cost. So I will write how much my cruise cost. All right. So that took a lot longer than expected because I can be chatty. All right, so now we're going to do my trip planning checklist. And this is something that obviously is going to be a checklist. And actually, I think I might bust out a different sticker book. I think I'm going to bust out my Live, Love, Posh, Love Yourself stickers. I think it's this one. Is it this one? One of these. I wish I knew what book it was. I thought it was this one. Has like checklist. Pretty sure it's this one. They have these little boxes. I'm going to use them because I'm not going to use them for these. So let's use them. All right. So using all the stickers. Of course, you can just draw your own. All right. So this is like your pre-planning checklist. I think the first thing I'm going to do is use a cute sticker for the box. I guess what I'll do, so this is after I've done my research, I've done my budget. Now we are ready to like start booking stuff. All right, so this is a big box because what I would put here is the trip information. So it's easier if you're doing a cruise because you're gonna have all that information up front. So you're gonna have like, let's say Virgin Voyages, the dates. That's a big box, but you know, I want it to be cute and I want it to be pretty. All right, so that's my trip planning checklist. And I'm just throwing stickers on the page. All right, so then the next thing so we're gonna say, so I'm doing this for a cruise. Let me get back to why I'm doing this, because I mean, of course this is gonna be a little bit different, but I'm doing this for a cruise. So for the cruise, there's a couple of things that I have. Well, actually, this will work for anything. All right. So for me, my cruise is going to be here. So I would say pay deposit. And I will check that off once that is done. I might actually put the date on there. And also in here, I would probably put my reservation information. Like this is good. That's why this is a big box. I mean, obviously you can just write that information. But like, even though this is a checklist, I'm going to be using my checklist to actually keep as more of a reference. And that's what everything is going to be, is like a reference. All right, let me get this balance off. Pay balance. And I will say, when you know, of course, I don't recommend one cruise line over another because I think your preference varies by person to person. But, and I don't know much about a lot of cruise lines. I've only cruised 3 different cruise lines. But I know with Virgin Voyages, if you pay in full up front, you get like a 10% discount. I would check into that anywhere. See if there's like a pay in full discount. And if you have the means to do it, then do it. Which is great. That's also sometimes the reason why pre-planning is so good, because I'm pre-planning for next year. So I might not be able to pay in advance, pay it all in advance. However, if you're planning for 2025, you may not be booking this until 2024. So you might start thinking about all of this and getting your budget straight and then start saving. So that way you can pay it off once you're ready to book. Just something to think about. All right, so we have that. The next thing, and again, I'm using stickers because I am just all extra and that's what I do. It's probably actually faster for me to use stickers because I try to write neat because I have horrible handwriting. All right, so the next thing you would do is book your flights. Unless you get a good deal in a hotel and it's refundable, then you can always kind of book your hotel based on when you think you're going to need it. And then these, again, came from that Agirlwithplanz plan book. They also have these flight info stickers in, if you're a sticker person like me, I actually got 2 of these books. The travel, it's just the travel book, that Happy Planner. They also have, they have a couple of different ones. I just wanted to go ahead, see, they have those flight info ones. And then they had another one. Or no, they didn't. Where did this come from? I don't know what book that came from. But being I'm talking about this book, those are the flight info stickers. Just want to show you guys in case you do like to use stickers. All right. So then I can write all my flight information there. The other thing, I know she did have another sticker with flight information, and I could put a plane. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll add some decor. I'll do that at the end, but I think check-in to flight and confirmation number. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so we will use this one. I don't know if I need two though. It's more the confirmation number than the check-in to flight. I probably won't even write the check-in to flight. I'm more going to use it for the confirmation number. And that is very important to keep track of. Now, I'm keeping track of all of this here initially. In a later video, I will show you what I use for actual travel. I have a mini. All right, so then we book the flight. The next thing is to book the hotel. Or vice versa. Like I said, if your hotel is refundable, then it really doesn't matter when you book it. You can book it as soon as you can, although some hotels, depends on how far in advance it is. All right, so then we'll put this here and we'll say book hotel. All right, I do need a box because I think it is very, very, very important. So what I'm going to do here is write all of the information about the hotel. So I have this little sticker. This came from that Happy Planner book I was referencing earlier, the travel one. It says the hotel, the check-in and check-out time, but I'm also going to want confirmation number, address, phone number, and email. Again, I know that stuff will probably be in my actual email, but I really do want it here as well. Okay, so this is my initial pre-planning. This is pretty much the initial stuff that kind of needs to get the ball rolling pretty far in advance. There are some other things that you may want to put on here that I am not, because I don't need it for an upcoming trip, but other things that need to be considered for pre-planning. Oh, I do need one. I need insurance. So insurance, but the other one is if you're traveling internationally, or if you're traveling internationally by air, by car, or by sea, to check your passport expiration date. Because they have to, most passports have to be valid 6 months after your actual travel date. And you do not want to be in the situation where you're trying to renew that at the last moment. Man, I wish I had pretty handwriting. Look, I'm already messing up. Buy travel insurance. And then with that comes another box or whatever. Because now you're going to need your travel insurance information. And I probably don't need as much information. Pretty much all you need is the company and the claim number. Or not claim number. The confirmation number again. Let's see. Let's just do this. So I can write the company and then my confirmation information. Okay, so there we go. So that is the basic. Then you kind of get into other stuff that you have to pre-plan for, but that comes later. So I don't know if I should do that in this video. I think I should do that because this is kind of the basics. So I think that's all we're going to do today. I don't want to keep this too long. This probably wasn't as exciting. Oh, I almost forgot. Travel savings tracker. Travel savings tracker. That sounded like a tongue twister, and I thought it was like, what am I saying? Yeah, so I created these. I might actually put these up on Etsy if you guys are interested. I created this for myself, and some of the drawings, like I had to create the cruise ship myself because I was like, maybe I will put this on Etsy. So for that, I had to create it myself on the computer using like shapes and lines. Same thing for this. I did a vacation savings tracker, and there's like little suitcases. So basically, now that you have this here, so you have your trip planner, and then you have, where did I put all my other little ones? So you start out with your kind of what your budget is, all of this stuff, then your travel budget. Then you probably want to go here. And I also have like little spots here where I can write for the cruise or the vacation, the trip dates, the total amount, deposit amount, final payment. Same thing over here, booking number, total amount, deposit amount, final payment. And then you determine how much each of these are. So there are more than 52 here. I forgot how many there is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 60. Don't want to leave blank space. So there's 60. I do need to edit this. So before it goes on Etsy, I definitely want to add, like this one has a booking number. I need a booking number here too. I just feel like booking numbers should be in multiple places. So like for my cruise, so if I'm thinking about my 2024 cruise, that is going to be quite the budget. If it's going to be something crazy like $4,000 because it's a huge thing, then if I want to pay that, obviously I have to like consider when the final payment is due and then back up from there. Hotel is usually taken out when you check in and not in advance, unless you know you do pay in full, which sometimes that could be dangerous because they might be non-refundable. But Mark, so I would determine how much this is based on how many times, like if I want to do 52 weeks because it's a year out, or if I want to bust it up into 60, or if I want to do once a month and only use 12 of these, figure out how much it is. If this is $100, so that could be it. Because then that would be $6,000. So maybe 50. Maybe these all be 50. I don't know. So that is kind of like a cute way, a decorative way to kind of track your savings. Like I said, I'm probably going to put this up on Etsy. I will link my shop down below. But it's a cruise savings tracker and a vacation savings tracker. Definitely both can be useful and both are super cute. But it's a good way to stay on top. So this is, to me, is pretty much what you need to get started when you're thinking about pre-planning to the actual booking part of the trip. That is all I have for now. I will be doing future videos about once now, like you've booked it, now what? And that's going to be more about, I'll be creating sheets, especially for my cruises, where I have each port and what I want to do in each port and like budgeting and stuff like that. So I'll have a video coming up on that. Hopefully, I've not booked my 2023 one yet. Hopefully that is coming soon, if that happens at all. But if that happens, that'll be great because then I can actually fill that out. And then I'm also going to do one, like I said, I do have like, I created packing lists and things like that. So then I'll do another one about now that you've booked everything, your excursions, the trip's almost around the corner. Now what do you do? So pretty much like a 3-part series, and this is part 1. All right, guys, that is all I have for now. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed, I would appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. And I do want to thank all of you who have already subscribed. All right, guys, until next time, I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Bye.